Ta-da! Hi, my name is Damir and I'm the co-founder of She's Games. I'm the co-founder, which means that I have another co-founder of She's Games. That's my wife. She's Games. She's Games is card or board game.
Okay, if generally I should describe my idea, so I know that Lithuania is a great place for small businesses, for startups. They employ about 73% of people and they generate approximately 10% of value added. My idea is to provide services for small and medium enterprises in Lithuania. It could be basically implemented via consulting, for example, or some advanced and more specific services that business requires.
Matter of fact, my business idea has to do with my master thesis project. It's mainly noise barriers integrated with renewable energy generation. In this particular case, we're studying integrating the noise barrier with solar panels, just to generate electricity, or with wind turbines, small ones. We're not sure about the efficiency yet. We're still studying that.
My business revolves around renewable energy and cutting costs. Majorly where I come from is that we rely more on fossil fuels, that is gasoline and petrol for transport mainly. And with the high cost of fuel, I embarked on a project to see how we can actually use electricity. Most of our electricity we use in our country is hydro-powered. So we decided to convert a Nissan 2005 model to an electric car. I came with that in mind that I can come here and build more knowledge, get access to resources, and probably convert most of these old cars into electric cars.
Yeah, well, ClipClamp is a company focused on cycling accessories. We want to develop, produce, and manufacture and good products that bring the cycling movement forward and to improve the life of the users. ClipClap D adapter for clipless pedals is our first product. It's an adapter that you can put it on under your shoes and then you can ride with clipless pedals. And that's the first of hopefully many products that we will launch in the market.
I'm watching TikTok a lot. Of course, I create content on TikTok. So I was watching, suddenly these videos came up of freeze-dried candies in USA, that it was very popular. A lot of people was doing it. Nice videos. The candy is crunchy and the sounds and so on. So I was thinking one day I told her look, I have these two ideas that I saw. So we were discussing what makes more sense and then, okay, let's do the freeze-dried candy. I think it will be easier to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we just saw it there, I think it's it's like most of the ideas that come to Europe, I think they are first in America, right? And then we bring them to here.
Yeah.
What should I say about She's Games? We wanted to make a thing. So yeah, our goal is to produce as many games as possible, to sell them all, and to become billionaires, of course. And if so, then to rule the world and to make playing of board games as a must.
I was 19. No. Still, I was 18 in 2022 when the Russia's full invasion started. It was my second grade in university. I was finishing my second grade. We was forced to move out of my city because Dnipro, it was like a intermediary hub between the front line and between the back line.
I'm a mechanical engineer originally. That's my first degree. Second degree, I have a postgraduate degree in renewable energy. I'm from Egypt, from Cairo. My side hustle was, I was a full-time musician as well. So that's the fun part, as they say.
Luckily, my parents, they had, they both had a work to do. It was a huge blessing. But to me, I got lost in my studies, in my direction, in everything. It was difficult.
Why am I here in Lithuania? Well, the good question for me will be, why not? It's always better to be somewhere new. It teaches me a lot. I've been here only for 6 months. I had more life experience than the last, I would say, 5 years. So, which I'm really grateful for. It is a blessing for me.
I'm called Anthony. I was born in Uganda. I was intrigued with technology, mostly hardware, working with hardware. Resources to build tools using hardware are not available in Africa.
A short time later, I was browsing my university's newsletters, and I found a list of universities, other European universities that offer some help to Ukrainian students. And there were some options for technical major students. And only one option for students, my major of business management. I found that it was Vilnius Tech University, actually. And to my shame, I never knew where Vilnius is located. So I definitely knew it's Europe, it's Northern Europe, but where exactly, no idea.
Since I studied industrial design, I was quite keen with Germany. I was super obsessed and in love with the country because of Bauhaus, industrial production and design and the quality and all the products. And then I did a semester abroad in Kiel. And although it was north and cold in summer, the people were just amazing, and they received me with arms wide open. The university was also out of this world. Fast forward, after 3 years almost, or 2.5 years of finishing my bachelor, I came to Cologne to do my master's studies in product design and process development at the TecMinho.
I'm originally from Romania. I moved to Lithuania 5 years ago, and it was August 2018. So some time ago, actually, a long time ago. And I really like it here. I moved here because I used to date a Lithuanian guy. We met in the United States, then we did 1 year of long distance, and then I really wanted to live abroad, I wanted to work abroad. So Lithuania felt the safest option for me at that moment. And here I am, not with that guy anymore, but still in Lithuania.
Of course. And my name is Fabian. I'm from Ecuador, and I came here 10 years ago. Same story. I met a Lithuanian girl in USA. I came here. I fell in love with this girl. At that time, I was very young, and I was studying here. And I really enjoy living here. So this is why I stay here. Yeah.
In the time, I realized that the technological advancement, the knowledge I had towards wasn't enough to build scalable solutions. So I decided to increase my knowledge by pursuing a master's in information systems engineering. And that's how I came to Europe, because I believe there is good knowledge, you understand that, and there are so many solutions which I could learn from. Yeah.
Well, I actually always wanted to patent something. So when people dream about receiving an Oscar or having a Nobel Prize, I was it would be really cool to have a patent. And I actually wanted to have it before my 30th birthday. Didn't work. Then it came Clip Clap, and I was unsure because of Germany, because of the bureaucracy, because of the language, because of the cost. But then the more that we started expanding our network, getting to know more people, really seeing the market and the potential, it was we need to patent this idea, because if not, we took hands on and we did our research and everything. And it was let's go. That's how we came, a bit of dream since the beginning. but then the necessity and the proof of that, and then just trusting the process and patenting the idea.
Well, patenting as such isn't something I haven't thought about so much, because in the industry of carbon offsetting, there are so many organizations which are moving into that direction. But so it's not something that is very unique, but unless there is some bit of technology advancement, which I'm not seeing, so far I'm not seeing. So it's not something within, yeah.
We're going to do it. Like, we're going to patent this thing. And if in the next 8 months we receive a huge bill, then, I don't know, we'll do a crowdfunding or something. And for our surprise, the costs are quite low. We only did it for Europe and United States. And really, when the invoice came, we were like, oh, wow, it's just like payable. So don't be afraid. Do it.
I like understanding of how to secure my idea. I know that it's not new, so the value is not in originality, but in the fact that I want to implement this.
I don't think so. I don't think we can patent this idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what we can do and what we should do is just to with the name,
to trademark,
to trademark our name,
the name, because it's not trademarked
Crunchas,
yet.
let's say. But I don't know. I don't think it's possible to patent.
Then I would say, apart from bureaucracy and language, I don't know, well, like trusting in myself and the whole atmosphere. Because apart from that, like really being in the university at the TechMinho with my my co-founder, it made the other problems seem very, very like smooth and takeable. Like obviously there were days that I was like crying, oh, why am I here? But my whole network, like professionally and personal network, made the whole thing smoother.
Connections, and connections. Because I do believe in the power of humanity rather than using any form of software. Of course, those are resourceful, definitely. But if I can ask a professional, an expert, that will be like the best case scenario.
The biggest challenge for us was the fact that we are foreigners living in a country where we don't speak the language, any like business level, of Lithuanian. So that was very challenging in the beginning. We came across people that were not really eager to help us. So we had a bit of bad experience with the system in the beginning. We were a bit let down. But that didn't really discourage us. In the end, we found someone that could help us to open the company and explain all the processes and everything. But it was challenging in the beginning.
The main people who actually make decisions, it's very difficult to convince them because, first of all, they don't speak English. They speak the local language. The accessibility to them, they are kind of hesitant to work with foreigners for some reason. The people who are welcoming and the young people, but they do not make decisions. They can only link you, but it's a gradual process. Once you expose yourself to these people, gain the trust, you'll be able to work out something. Though I'm still looking for other partners who are interested in this kind of ideas like that.
In order to be able to manufacture candies, because actually we don't manufacture them from zero, but because we put them in this freeze dryer and they expand or whatever, and then we have to pack, we need to get a manufacturing license. So that it's absolutely impossible to get without a consultant. You have to write like 100 pages explaining the entire system, how it works. You need to know exactly what kind of disinfectants you need, what kind of weight, like scale you need for the candies, what kind of you have to label everything in the place that you are renting. So there are a lot of things that a lot of people are not aware of. So yeah, we had to reach out in the end to a consultant.
Well, as I mentioned on the question before, like my network, definitely like personal and professional, and like going to events, and then slowly I started knowing more people that could help me or that had a contact or that they could do this and that. Also resilience, being resilient and like accept like and focus on what really like brings us forward. Because sometimes like that, like with the bureaucratic moments and documents, that was really a hassle because like they asked for a lot of things. They told me that I couldn't be active in ClipClap. They still wanted to ClipClap to be successful so that I could get the visa, but I couldn't be active. And I was like, what do you want from me? Just really remember like, okay, speak to your people that you know, trust the process, focus on ClipClap, make it successful, and just wait. Doing yoga, climbing, having a lot of other moments like to ease my mind. But yeah, resilient and trusting the process.
Maybe funding will be beneficial as well. It's not like, this is not the main issue, because I believe like money is not the stop sign for any project. Like you can get it done. What else? Labor, when it goes like on a bigger scale, labor definitely. Educated, experienced labor. Because nobody actually is familiar with this. Not a lot, I would say. So, yeah.
The advice I would give them is to work with the local people. The local people understand so much about the communities, their problems, the challenges. And once you sell them your idea or what you have on mind, you can easily tap into their knowledge, share knowledge, and they'll be able to support you. Yeah, that's the kind of knowledge I would like to share with.
What else could I say? Networking, trusting the process, resilience, eating well and taking care of your body and your mind. 2 years ago, I was super sick because I was juggling like a mini job, a half-time job, an internship, ClipClap, my thesis. And I thought I could do everything. And then my body said like, you don't know how to do a pause. That's when I really understood like what it is to listen to your body. And because if we are not healthy, then the idea cannot go forward. And yeah, like if you're not working, the idea is not working as well.
Well, don't give up. First of all, as you can see, there are a lot of challenges in the beginning. And advice, I think that nowadays what matters the most and how you get the most health is be active on social media. That's how you can get the recognition for your brand, have a social media account, post a lot of videos. This is what works nowadays better than what used to work, before. So I think that's like a crucial thing in growing your brand. Be active on social media.
Also, it's important, I think, to do it because, we were thinking, should we do it? Should we not do it? The easiest was not to do it, right? Yeah. And just continue our lives. So, okay, we say, let's invest money. If we lose money, okay, we will not be bankrupt, We will not invest here 100,000 euros, So we say, okay, let's try it. So we did it. That's the first step. Also, in the beginning, you're not going to win any money, right? So, yeah, at the beginning, it's just investment. So to be persistent in this, that's for sure,
Persistence.
And yeah, social media, it's key in this. I think many businesses still don't do it. And it's just a way to get some traffic to the website for free, even if you do it yourself, so.
No matter what you want to do, just work on it. It's not like just do it. It's work on it, because sometimes you will face, of course, challenges, smaller or bigger. You will for sure face challenges which you never like imagine to face. But that's life. That's normal. I think it's the same in Germany, in Bosnia, in Argentina, in India, everywhere. Sometimes the thing is that you would think that okay, you are in Germany. In Germany, everything goes super fast, easy. No, it's not the case at all. Yeah, if you work on it, then everything will be okay. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 2.5 years, but it will be all right.
So my name is Laurențiu and I'm originally from Romania. I graduated as a clinical psychologist specialty. And I'm also trained in psychotherapy. I moved to Portugal 7 years ago. I was definitely drawn by its rich culture and history, as well by that warm community as well, and the potential for personal and professional growth as well. So this transition was not really only geographical, it was also transformative for me at least. It really aligned with my passion for mental health care and innovation as well. And Portugal seems more and more to offer a unique environment to merge these interests of mine as well. And that really fostered the journey towards creating a meaningful change towards that mental well-being. And one of the objectives of MindRenew as a business, dealing with eco-anxiety as well, that comes from the understanding that the climate change is first and foremost a relationship issue, rather than practical challenges like waste sorting, for example, was to found a company and to create a digital sanctuary, as I call it. So a safe space where mental well-being services and products could meet modern tools and approaches such as AI, virtual reality, and so forth. So approaching it first from an educational perspective, offering training before any other process could arise. And so I noticed a gap in combining this traditional therapy, psychotherapy, with innovative strategies like contemplative practices, IFS, internal family systems, and compassion-focused therapy. My vision was then to bridge this gap and to empower individuals to heal and thrive even by really doing this balance between resilience and assertivity. The biggest challenges that I faced as a migrant entrepreneur was navigating those legal and administrative and tax systems in Portugal, which were to me unfamiliar and extremely complex. And adapting to that professional and cultural environment in a new country also added to the learning curve, to that uncomfort which I still feel, but I learned how to address that and how to make a better use of it. And as well, another challenge that I need to add is that quality of communication with the professionals that I'm working with and the professionals that help me make this digital transition, as well as the funding that I receive. So there's also a big part of it. Well, in what concerns the patenting process for my company, MindRenew, is still in its early stages. So why was I motivated to start this process, which is quite complex as well? I had a desire to really safeguard the methodology and the tools that we're going to use and then we're going to develop as well. And so these innovations will really play a key role in securing and really offering that impactful space for the users of the digital platform, while they will also ensure that our contributions are recognized as original. And so the main challenges that I faced when I tried to initiate this patenting process, first of all, understanding tremendously complex the intellectual property laws within the European Union has been really a significant challenge for me. Balancing all these technicalities of patenting with ongoing platform development, because now I'm at the end of the development, and really securing funding requires really careful planning. So that would be the biggest challenge. And how I navigated these legal and administrative requirements, what I started with is contacting what I call an intellectual property lawyer to help me guide through this process. And also, very important, I went and I saw that there is also funding for the IP scan, so exactly for this part of the patenting. And I've explored these resources I asked for, and now we're really started the process. It is, for me, again, a dual approach. First of all, from a legal framework, and then thinking on long term from that platform as well, development. So first, having a very clear communication with the expert, and then understanding whether the funding will allow me to implement this patent as well, this patent. First of all, would be to begin with a very clear vision. So that's really put it on the paper to actually be able to see it daily or weekly. And when that has been done, remain flexible, reasonable, and especially assertive as you navigate a whole load of challenges. Use your unique background, I would say, as a migrant entrepreneur, as an asset rather than anything else, because you're here to offer, and I'm here to offer a fresh perspective to this industry and to the market as well. And again, do not hesitate to ask for help when needed. Really, there are people who will support you. And above all, what I would definitely insist on would be to really stay true to your own values. Why have you started this in the beginning? Because they will serve as a guiding principles through all this process.
Hello, my name is Kirill, and I am the founder of Flux Dating app. Some 2 years ago, me and my family are moved to Portugal to start our project here. 5 years ago, I was single. I was looking for a relationship, and I was using some traditional dating apps at the time. And actually, my family is the result of thousands of swipes I made some 5 years ago before I met my wife. So the dating itself, the online dating, happened to be successful. I found my wife, and I'm happy that this field of products, let's say, worked pretty much fine. But I remember myself that doing the traditional dating, like in the form of swipes, made me bored, and I was super tired of doing this routine every day. And when I finally married, I decided that I want to improve that. I want to improve that by introducing some different approach to dating. And it was at that moment that I decided to create a dating app that would make it possible to connect people through music, because I'm a big fan of music also. So that's how the project came out. That's how Flux appeared in my head and became the base ground for the immigration and for the very important turn in my life. So talking about the challenges, the process of startup application, like when you apply for startup visa in Portugal, is easy. It's basically not too much challenging. And working with incubation is also easy, because the incubators lead you through that path and they help you to adapt very quickly. Opening a company in terms of legal things is also easy, because when you have a list of confirmed names for the company, you can do it in a couple of days. So it was also easy for me. The challenging part of the whole incubation process is probably connected with the purposes, with the investment purposes that you want to solve for your project, basically, because the incubation process usually guides you through your way to success, but doesn't give you the opportunity in terms of the investment. So you have to build it for your own. So those are the challenges I see in my story. So talking about the patenting, currently we are not considering in the moment the patenting of the product itself, but we are thinking to protect our brand by patenting the name, the title of the project for sure, but also having in mind the plans to protect our technology, search technology within the app, which would probably we consider to as a next step after we launch the product in the specialized markets like that. Talking about the advices that I would probably give to people that are migrating to Portugal is basically be brave, try it out because it is worth it. It's a great country to live in because there's a lot of safety here, good climate, and very kind people. So just dare to move and don't be afraid of anything.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Betancourt, and I'm the CEO and the founder of Ceros Group, which is a company that is based in Estonia under the resident program. I born and was raised and studied in my natal country, Cuba. I studied there in the University of Informatics Science. The main reason I came to Europe was to be able to open my business because from Cuba is kind of quite difficult. And I couldn't make it in Bulgaria. This was, for the nature of the documents of my legal status, it was almost impossible to open my own business. That's how I end up using the resident program Estonia, which is, it didn't make me any big deal or complications or legal bureaucracy, necessary bureaucracy to open my business. The initial idea right now about PetMe is there a platform where pet owners can interact and can make a community about the subject they're interested in, about something that all of them have in common, which is the love for the pets and the desire to care for the pets. This is the initial plan of PetMe, but we have plan for expansion of PetMe. We want to make PetMe the one-stop app for the whole animal world. This is actually funny because I met my co-founder because I hired her initially to make the trademarks of PetMe, of the first platform. In that moment, I felt that was important to register somehow what I was doing. Because I don't know, I was reading on the internet that a lot of people who doesn't do this, they face problems. And I really didn't know too much about it. I thought that I should patent what I was doing. And when I hired this person, she told me that no, it doesn't work that way. This you cannot patent this, but you can register and you can get legally protected by registering the logo, the name, and all kind of things. Of course, there is challenge. Anything is easy, but if I say there is a big challenge, I wouldn't mention any because as I say, I truly believe that the success for your business depends on you. That you continue growing, trying new stuff. If something doesn't work, just change it, try something else until something works. You just have to keep trying until you make it. So that's why the normal challenge that a new business or company might face when you go to market is like market validation, is like the people understand your product, you get clients, you get revenues, but this is a challenge that every single new business in the world will face. So I don't believe that this, in my opinion, I don't believe this should be labeled as something critical.
I am Thomas Palopoli. I live in Estonia for the past 4 years. And I created my own company there that is called Fairgrow OU when COVID started. So I ended a job that I was in for 3 years in France as a workshop facilitator in a scientific museum. And then in 2020, I arrived in Estonia for family reasons, mostly. We had our first child who was born in Tallinn in 2020. I had this innovative idea about creating a digital solution for local farmers in Estonia in order to connect them better with the customers. Because we found this demand that people were looking for local good product food. Software and digital solutions, community solutions, educational solutions. And I was accepted in the incubator of Clean Tech Estonia, Cleantech Forest in 2022. And there was this beamline accelerator for climate solutions. So we were something like 10 projects inside of this incubator. And for 3 months, we had meetings, events, and brainstorming sessions, so we could develop this project. So I was partnered with a friend of me who had his own company and came with me in this specific project. So he was a local Estonian. That was very useful. And then I gave the pitch in Tallinn city center. In the end, we were not taken in the 3 first projects, but that was a great experience to see how such an idea, such a project can be received by the people, by other actors of the economy, especially in the green ecology field. I would say I would reach out, for example, in Estonia, there are lots of advisors and support for business, for startups and entrepreneurs that are usually free of charge even. And I did that in the past to start my business, to ask some questions. They are very available. You can have in-person meetings or online meetings with them. I would start with that, asking questions about patenting. I don't know if any of them would have answers. And then I would go from here. Usually they are very good in redirecting you to the right organisms, right people, so then you can find better and more detailed answers. Do I have any advice for aspiring migrant? Be social, go out, meet people who did it, meet local people who did it, even if they are not migrant. You will face same challenge as the local people if you create an Estonian company. And make it with joy, excitement, and really hope. Don't do it because you just need money. Do it because the thing that you want to do drives you, motivates you, and it's part of your whole life, not just a business. So that would be my advice, because that's what keeps the fuel and the fire alive in the long term, at least for me.
My name is Jacqueline Romero. I am come from Nicaragua. I think about travel and I look about Ireland, and I start to discovering, and I was, oh wow, I want to be there. So I start the process to come here and looking everything, and after 1 year, when I take my decision to come in Ireland, I come here and I fell in love with Ireland. I can say, I have many friends, and I have a page on Facebook, like a Nicaraguan girl living in Ireland. So I have many people follow me to see my experience living here. And so I have many people write for asking me how you do, what my experience. So I decided with my best friend to make, one study agency is for give all the information to them. What we do is have partnership with all the many schools in Ireland. And for after we help to the students in Latin America for all this process. So last year we decided with my friend to make as a company, So now it's 1 year we are working, and we are very happy with the result. I think we don't have many information about how we start the process, So it was a bit challenge because it's another language, it's many different process to make all in the company, So it was a bit challenging.
Were you involved in product patenting at any stage?
No, I don't, but I would like in the future, you know, it's something that I really would be interesting. Everybody we can't, you know, sometimes we stop to start to thinking about business because we say, we are not from here, we can't, it's so difficult. But I can say you can. What the good thing in Ireland is, Ireland give us the chance to do whatever we want. This is the best country for live. So I can say you can start whatever good idea you have, you can do it.